What is going on, everybody? For those who don't know, I go by Philly Mike, and this is another Philly Talk podcast live stream. Sorry about the intro playing that random dial tone. I don't know why it still didn't change to my actual intro music around it. But what is going on, everybody? We got some breaking news. Jim Schwartz will opt out not opt out, will let his contract expire to end 2020-2021 season. He will not be back with the Eagles. He will at least take a year off and contemplate possibly retiring. He's not sure yet, but there's no way he will be back with the Eagles next year. He's not sure if he wants to retire, and I kind of understand. I mean, hey, was there things talked about behind closed doors about him returning, and he rather take the prideful way out? Because hey, the defense has been bad. I'm not going to blame it all on Jim Schwartz because we haven't been able to put pieces around him, especially when it comes to the linebacker position and the secondary. Now, Jim Schwartz dug a little bit of his own grave for the simple fact that he has yet to change his scheme up, yet to realize when you have bad corner play, you have to change it up. Some defensive coordinators are good when they got certain type of players on the field. Maybe he's just not capable of playing a defense where he drops back two safeties, where he blitzes on the regular, just things that he's not willing to change into because he's been a successful defensive coordinator in the NFL doing it his way. Why nine? Play coverage, but bring a safety in the box. That's the way he wants to play. And we don't got the talent to do that. Now, this is all speculation, but the one thing that's not speculation is the breaking news that he is taking 1 year off. He's going to let his contract expire. Now, will that be the end of Jim Schwartz in the NFL? I don't know. He might retire, he might not. But at the end of the day, there's no way you take a year off and come back to Philly. So we are going to need a new defensive coordinator, and we're going to get into that, talking about who would best fit this Philadelphia Eagles scheme, or what scheme will we like to see going forward. We're going to get into all that. However, what does this say about Doug Peterson? A guy who's was brought in as the head coach with Jim Schwartz already there. Jim Schwartz was the defensive coordinator before Howie Roseman and Jeff Lurie decided to put Doug Peterson as the head coach. So what is this going to say about him? I don't know. We still got a lot of questions to answer, and that's what happens when you win 4 games. Things start to happen prior to the season ending. Now, again, who's to say that Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman didn't have a behind the scenes, behind a closed door conversation with Jim? Like, listen, you're definitely getting let go. Why don't you go ahead and, do what you got to do to make it look like you still got some credibility, because he's been a good NFL defensive coordinator throughout his tenure in the NFL. Now, I don't know exactly what happened, but what's going on, everybody in the chat? Philly, let's go on. Philly Insider Podcast, Mr. Anthony, Ethan, Sonic, Bobby, Tevin, Roan One More channel member in the building. What's going on with you? Tyrese Washington, Ryan Rowe, Kill, AJ, Rock the Artist, Lorenzo, Isaiah, Kevin, Billy, Bruce. What is going on? 12:49 in the news just dropped maybe 25 minutes ago. I was actually in the process of doing a Sixers video because they sit on top of the Eastern Conference. But I was like, whoa, he is going to take a year off. What is your initial thoughts on that, guys? Like I said, we're going to get into some defensive coordinators that I think that we can look at, because you're not going to really want to get, maybe you would want to get an up and coming one, but because Doug Peterson really allows his defensive coordinator to do what the defensive coordinator wants, maybe he's going to want to get a guy who's a veteran, a guy who knows something, like Dan Quinn, like Greg Williams. Greg Williams is a heavy blitzer. So when you blitz, you got to have solid corners. So I don't know if that would work unless we go defensive heavy in this draft, and we got guys that we feel like can play on the outside. Now, Greg Williams will blitz, but he's not afraid to keep 2 safeties back there as well. He got fired from the Jets for blitzing. I forgot who they were blitzing, and it was just an easy touchdown at the end of the game. But this was also in the time where the Jets were really trying to lose games. So who knows if the general manager, Joe Douglas, some of these guys said, hey, Greg, be on our side and throw some of these games. But Adam Gase wasn't liking it, and he said, "You're fired." So we don't really know how that all goes. Shout out to my guy, Angry Joker, with the $2 super chat. I wanted Howie fired. That is something that's still on a lot of Philadelphia Eagles minds, and we're going to definitely talk about that. But we can only do one step at a time. It comes down to this. We've been talking about it ever since the Dallas Cowboy loss. Actually, we have been talking about it throughout this whole year because this has been one of the worst Eagles seasons in a while. Jim Schwartz, Doug Peterson, Howie Roseman, quarterback controversy now. A lot of things. I want to say this about Jim Schwartz. I do not think he was a horrible defensive coordinator. No, I do think that in times he got too stubborn-headed because he knows he had success in the NFL playing at his style. He was stubborn and not willing to adjust to the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles got 0 corners besides Slay, and it hasn't been Slay's best year. You're talking about Avonte Maddox in and out the lineup, Crevion LeBlanc in and out the lineup, rookie free agents, no safety play, Jalen Mills not really fitting at safety or corner. You know what I mean? Kevon Wallace not being as big of a part that we needed him to be early. There was just a lot of questions in this defense besides the scheme and the coaching. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it just probably had to be done because the Eagles have to really just look at themselves in the mirror and say, after slowly getting worse each year when it comes to coaching, when it comes to talent, when it comes to drafting, we got to look at ourselves in the mirror. And it's at one time, it's like, pull the trigger, time to start over. Now, you can start over and not be in a full rebuild. You can actually have some pieces to where you think, it's more of a retooling, but we got to start making some moves. You can't just sit there at a standstill. Maybe Doug can turn it around. Maybe this can work. As Philly fans and for the city of Philadelphia, we don't take maybes. There's no such thing as a sure thing coming in here, but at the end of the day, we got to see. Shout out to my guy, Jalen Williams, channel member. He said, no 3-4 defensive coordinator. This will be a bad fit with our currently and young talent. Yeah, I'm not big on a 3-4 either. I was always taught to love 4-3. I forgot when we went 3-4, who was the defensive coordinator. I know it's when we had like D'Amico Ryan and all them, I believe, at the linebacker position, but I'm not big on 3-4 defenses at all. Philly fan D said hire Rex Ryan and his brother. Both of them. Jim is leading by example and taking a step back and letting someone else take over. Maybe the other coaches should follow suit. That's what I'm kind of saying. I don't believe it was Jim Schwartz. Look, I believe there's a lot of chitter chatter going on in this organization from the top, middle, and bottom. And instead of just being that guy who gets fired at the end of the season, he just probably got a little edge like, come on, it's time. Now, would I have thought he would have been the first domino to fall? Not really. I wouldn't have guessed the first domino. I wouldn't have guessed it to happen Saturday, one day before. And he's not fired. He's not fired. So you know what I mean? He's going to be calling the defense against Washington with all these 9 players out. No Fletch, no Barnett, no Mills. No McLeod, like we already know. No Miles Sanders on the offensive side of the ball. No Quez Watkins. Nobody. A lot of people missing. And is it because the Eagles realize there's nothing to play for? We got to get these guys healthy. Let's go ahead and just see what happens. I'm not sure. Now fire Doug and hire Eric B. and let's bring his own offensive coordinator. Let him bring his own staff. At the end of the day, when you hire a head coach, you should let that head coach bring his own staff in. You should let him bring his own staff in, live or die by that decision, because that's why you're putting him in that position. The head coach of a football team should be able to decide everything about the football team, even some type of personnel. Now, you don't need to have no Chip Kelly, big-headed, I do everything, but a head coach should have more responsibilities than what Doug Peterson has. Again, they picked a defensive coordinator prior to even getting Doug. But I will say this, there's guys out there, Dan Quinn. Listen, Jim Schwartz was a head coach for the Detroit Lions. Not everybody wants to be a head coach, realize they can't get it done as a head coach, and come back to a coordinator spot, but it's been done. Jim Caldwell, coach, back to coordinator. Jim Schwartz, coach, coordinator. Dan Quinn, coach, possibly coordinator. That's definitely an option. Now, I'm not saying the Eagles wouldn't go ahead and pick somebody up who's up and coming, but then you really need a strong head coach to make sure everything is on up and up. And normally, if you are a defensive-minded head coach, you can get an up-and-coming coordinator because you can work with them. Same with your offensive head coach, you can get an up-and-coming offense OC because you can work with them. But I don't need Doug Peterson trying to influence the new up-and-coming defensive coordinator when Doug don't even know how to score on defenses, I guess. I don't know. It's crazy, though. That's what happens when you get roasted by the red rifle. Hey, right? You know, you let Andy Dalton and these 3 wide receivers go off on you. Not shout out to, but hey, RIP Michael Jaquet. I'm not ready to give up on him fully. He's an undrafted rookie free agent. Got put in the fire to play against Hopkins, to play against these 3 wide receivers. But you can't allow that to happen in a game where it's playoff implications. Roman Moore said Leslie Frazier. Hey, I hear you. We on the same page. There you go. 2 channel members on the same page. Leslie Frazier. He was a defensive coordinator for the Vikings at one time, right? Wasn't he a defensive coordinator for the Vikings? Lose and get a top 5 draft pick and keep Dallas out of the playoffs. Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we might have to do. I dig your Sixers cap, yo. Shout out to you, my guy. Like I said, I sat down, started to do a Sixers podcast, and my Twitter, bloop, 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 bloop. And it's like Jim Schwartz will not be back after this season. He's going to contemplate retire and take a year off. I said, oh, whoa. Time to get on a live stream real quick. But listen, when it comes down to it, there's going to be veteran guys out there. There's going to be guys who are up and coming. I don't know. And again, my decision on whether or not to go with a guy like a Dan Quinn or a Leslie Frazier, as some of the channel members pointed out, is also what are we doing with Doug Peterson? Are we getting a defensive-minded head coach in here to go along with a new defensive coordinator? Are we getting a offensive-minded head coach in here to possibly get a new offensive coordinator as well? Or are we keeping Doug Peterson and getting a up-and-coming OC, a new up-and-coming OC, or a veteran OC to come in here and handle business alongside of Doug to play that Frank Wright role? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it comes down to Jim Schwartz. Was it him just saying, you know what, this team is just giving me nothing to work with? Or was it chitter chatter behind closed doors? Howie Roseman, trying to make some executive decisions before he gets the, I don't know. Asante Samuel Jr., I mean, if he plays like his dad, that's a steal. I need Howie to at least be disciplined or relieved of some power. Only way this franchise can go in the right direction. That is facts. You cannot have that much power over any head coach. Listen, if you keep Doug Peterson, let him be in charge of his stuff. If you get a new head coach, you can't get a head coach in here who's just going to be a puppet to Howie Roseman. The Super Bowl went to Howie Roseman's head. At the end of the day, Howie Roseman did a great job getting these plug pieces. The LeGarrette Blunts and signed in free agency. Jay Ajayi he traded for, Patrick Robinson, Chris Long, Torrey Smith, Alshon Jeffrey, either trade pieces or free agent signings. He did great, but that's it. We lived off that then, and each year, because of them re-signing decisions and picking up other plug-in pieces that just didn't work or got injured, we slowly became a worse football team year and year again. Jim Schwartz, a casualty of war. I'm not going to sit up here and say Jim Schwartz is the best, but I'm not going to say he's the worst. He's just a stubborn guy, a guy who can't work with the talent on the field, and he's not willing to adjust. You give him some good pieces, he'll make some stuff happen. We've seen shutout games, 17-point games, 10-point games. We've seen it, just not with a consistent in a consistent manner. But this defense hasn't been healthy in a consistent manner, hasn't played up to expectations in a consistent manner. The pass rush, the secondary is awful. You know what I mean? So we have a lot. Get a DC OC and put Howie in the office and have the guy currently in office be our GM. Hey, John Dorsey should be doing big things with his influence. Again, they put Howie in the closet and they locked it when they let Chip Kelly run the draft. Maybe they're going to do the same thing. It's not a head coach running the draft, but they might let John Dorsey do his thing and keep Howie around just for sentimental reasons. Because let's be honest, I think Jeff Lurie just loves the guy, to be honest. That kid Z said, goodbye, Jim. Get up out of here. Seth Joyner for DC. Eric Bieniemy for head coach, a good offensive coordinator, and Patricia for defensive coordinator. Hey, he might get fired from the Lions, or did he get fired already? We have seen several 17-point games this year. Fire Dub, keep Carson. Do you think the Eagles will beat the Washington football team on Sunday? No. I mean, you're going to have guys like Jalen Hurts try his best because he's still trying to show that he can play in the NFL and prove that he can either start for this team and or another team. But, you know, you're not playing. Look, there's 9 key players who are out. We're not even talking about the other players who've been out. We're not talking about the Ronnie McLeods and the other guys. We're talking about 9 additional players. Fletch, Miles, Jalen, more offensive line people out. We're going to have to start Toth, who played like 4 snaps this season only. Patricia did get canned. I figured it. I figured he was going to get canned for the Lions. He's been losing. Again, you got people who are not set out to be head coaches, but still can be great coordinators throughout the league. So that could be. But I do like the Leslie Frazier. What's going on, Solo Bolo? Yo, hashtag fire Jim Schwartz worked. Lori let him save face by the announcement, but he was fired. That's what I was kind of talking about early in this. I was saying, you know, the Eagles, with everything going on with the Eagles and us only winning 4 games, looking the way we're looking, the fact that Doug Peterson can't handle a press conference, I thought Jeff Lurie was the type of guy, because of these guys were Super Bowl material at one time, was going to let them type save face. I didn't think there was going to be any during the season firings. It's just how Jeff Lurie works for the majority. Now, we did it with Chip Kelly, but Chip Kelly went too far. Again, I thought he pretty much had a conversation with Jim like, look, 27 interceptions in the last 3 years, not turning the ball over. You're not willing to adjust. You do a lot of good things, but this team needs more than just good things. We need teaching. We need to know why Sidney Jones went somewhere else and playing a little bit better. Rasul Douglas playing a little bit better. Why things are happening. And we hired him. Remember, we hired Jim Schwartz prior to signing Doug Peterson. So Doug didn't pick him. Howie did. And now Howie's getting rid of him. I think it's more of a, well, be more careful. Says, shout out to you, my guy. Save face. Hey, make an announcement. Say you want some time off. Do what you got to do. And it looks like you left us. You're going to let your contract expire. Or step into my office. You know what I mean? I don't know. Change of scheme will be good for us. Been a long time coming. I'm just, I don't know if you just got in here, but Jalen Williams said it earlier. I'm a guy who hopes we do not switch to a 3-4. I'm all about that 4-3 lifestyle, to be honest. If we get a top 5 pick, who do you think we should get? I'm going to have a lot of videos on draft profiles. You know, some defensive guys, linebackers, cornerbacks, wide receivers. We're going to be talking about it. If it comes down to wide receiver, it's really the 2, Chase or Smith. I'm still slowly deciding right now. I'm kind of leaning toward Chase. But, hey, we got a long drama-filled offseason coming. Bradley said, letting the OC defensive coordinator go will send a warning signal or light a fire for Doug Peterson to get together. Well, remember, there is no OC. Doug is the OC. So that's the sad part there. Dan Quinn helped build the Legion of Boom. Might be a good for us. Exactly. I talked about guys like Leslie Frazier. Well, I didn't bring him up. Rome won more, and Jalen Williams did. But you got Leslie Frazier, you got Dan Quinn, you got Greg Williams. And again, Dan Quinn is an ex-head coach, but there are people who were head coaches who just couldn't get over that hump and will go back to being a coordinator. A la Jim Schwartz, head coach for the Detroit Lions. Couldn't succeed as a head coach, came back to being a defensive coordinator. Jim Caldwell, head coach for the Lions, came back and beat it and was a offensive coordinator for some other teams. So maybe Dan Quinn does the same type thing. What's going on, Vic 3? Anthony Lynn, keep your eyes out for him. You think he's going to get fired from the Chargers? I'm awake said Chase won't be there. If we lose, what do you mean? If we lose to the Washington football team, you're talking about, depending on what the Texans, the Falcons, you're talking about 3, 4, 5, 6. If we get 3, he'll be there. 4, maybe not. 4, maybe not. I mean, 6, maybe not. You don't want the Giants to get ahead of us, to be honest. You don't want the Giants to get ahead of us. Good chances we pick number 3. Yeah, let some teams win, we lose. And look, at this point, the Eagles are going to go out there and fight. Whoever is on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles is going to try to beat the Washington football team. But we're putting guys out there who shouldn't win a game. Ian said, fire Doug, send Carson to Indy, bring Marvin Lewis in and promote Deuce to OC. Wow. He got it all figured out. You want Marvin Lewis as head coach and Deuce as the offensive coordinator. Listen, let me ask you guys in the chat this. Let's just say the Eagles went a different way from Doug Peterson. Would you want a defensive-minded head coach or an offensive-minded head coach? Where do y'all fall on that? Let me know in the chat. If all the receivers are gone, would it be a good idea to get Patrick Surtain? Listen, cornerback might be a good idea off the rip anyways. I mean, I'm going to really dive deep into it and see where people rank, what they do. It's easy to watch people highlights, but I always try to get a player's best game, worst game, and then just an average game. So you can really see the ins and outs of what these players do. You type in anybody's name in the search bar on YouTube and watch highlights, they're going to look good. They're going to look good because the highlights are only the highlights of their career. Some might have a 10-minute video. Some might have a 2-minute video. The 2-minute videos you got to be careful of, because if you only got 2 minutes of great tape, that's kind of bad. Isaiah Smith said, Bienemy. Hey, that's a guy who's been passed up to be a head coach multiple last year, definitely. Maybe not multiple seasons, but last year, definitely. He deserves a shot. Andy Reid allows him to play call, and he's part of one of the most dominant offenses in the game. Yes, they got a lot of skill players, but still, he's definitely doing what he's doing. Random said defense. Oh, we got a bunch of defenses. Defense, offense, defense. Eagle Gamer said offense. Eric R said offensive minded. 82 Bucks says, I want Deuce Staley as head coach. Wow, I hear you. Caleb Farley is better than Surtain. That's definitely, look, I am going to do 2 type of comparison videos. I'm going to have a Jamar Chase versus Devontae Smith. We're going to show highlights, lowlights, things they do well, things they got to work on. And I'm going to do the same thing, Farley and Surtain. So we're going to have 2 different type of, what do you call it? Comparison videos. And I'm going to drop them probably within the next week or 2. DB wide receiver. Still people are answering offensive minded. Freestyle said offense. Dak Prescott's in here saying offense. I don't know why. Freestyle said Mitch Parsons. Vic said they are reporting Bienemy putting together a nice coaching staff. Woo, there you go. See, that's the thing. When you got a guy like Bienemy who got passed up last year, and you realize going into this year, they might go back to back. You're going to take some staff members off there. It's good to get guys under your belt now. You're like, hey, yo, if I get this head coaching spot, you want OC? All right. Hey, yo, if I get this head coaching spot, you want DC? All right. Hey, you want this? You want this? You want defensive back coach? You want offensive line coach? No. Offensive line coach got to stay. If there's anybody on the staff that has to stay, it's Jeff Stoutland. But look, Jim Schwartz, I believe it was all what Be More Careful said, a way to save face and say, look, step down. Or, something bad's going to happen. Not bad, but we're going to let you go, make you look worse. Smith is a skinny version of Julio Jones. I think he's better. Interesting. I'll be good with the defensive coach or offensive coach. Hey, you just want something different. I hear you, my guy. He says certain is no Ramsey. Certain is no Ramsey. I feel as though Deuce gets thrown and left under the bus he's never spoken about. That is facts. That is facts. Bieniemy all the way. There have been reports if John Dorsey becomes general manager for a new team, he's bringing Bieniemy to save a franchise. And with Dorsey being on the team, it looks promising. Hey, I didn't get to see them, but I'm definitely going to have to look into that. Do we still have Hakeem Butler? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Wait, what? He's taking a year off? Hey, Muhammad, if you're just getting here, for people who are just getting in here, let me just rebuttal that little saying. Jim Schwartz will be letting his contract expire at the end of this season. He will be stepping down, at least taking 1 year off to contemplate retirement. Who knows if he comes back to being a defensive coordinator or any type of coach in the NFL, but you don't take a year off and come back to that same team. So him leaving the Eagles means he's done as a Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator, possibly in the future could coach for another team. But I believe this is more of a safe face, like Be More Careful. And a couple people in here said it comes down to chatter behind closed doors. Do you want us to fire you at the end of the year, or do you want a safe face? It's up to you. Butler could be tight end too. Hey, we're going to have to see. Listen, I'm going to have some other videos out when we're talking about these veteran players, the Alshon Jeffries, the Sean Jacksons, the Zach Ertz, the Malik Jacksons, possibly a Brandon Graham. I'm questionable about. But there's going to be guys that we're like, huh? We're letting them go? We just got to. We need to get the best cornerback, best linebacker in the draft. Hey, we need something. Defense got to be better. Smith is a 170-pound receiver. They don't transfer well in the NFL. Yeah, there's only been a couple Deshaun Jacksons to do it. You know what I mean? And Tyreek Hill's small, but he's still built differently. Who knows if that translates well in his rookie year, especially without expectations. I hear you. Devontae Smith is like DeAndre Hopkins, but Jamar is like Julio type, and I don't care if I get either. We just need one. Yeah, right? Still. Who's playing quarterback on Sunday? Jalen Hurts. John Hill said his scheme sucks, stinks. Yeah, it does. That's one of the biggest downfalls with him. He's stubborn. With certain personnel, his schemes would work. We don't got the personnel for it to work, though. All the names you just said, they need to be gone. That's facts. That's big facts. Brandon Graham can't go no way. Listen, he's the one that's on the edge because of the Pro Bowl type season he had. Well, not Pro Bowl type, the Pro Bowl season he has. What he's able to do in the run game, what he's able to do in the pass game, pass rush game. The fact of the matter is, though, we owe him $15 million. So here's the thing. If he says, I want my contract to stay the same, he's probably going to be gone. If he's willing to do something I believe Brandon Graham will do, and that is restructure, maybe we could see him. It's definitely a possibility. Muhammad said this made my day. The Eagles gamer said we need a good draft and fire Howie Roseman. That's one of the ways to get a good draft is to fire Howie Roseman. If we get Smith, we can't be mad. If we get Chase, we can't be mad. Yeah, at the end of the day, you don't need a receiver coming in here getting the Nelson Aguilar treatment, even the Jalen Reagor treatment, where it's like, ew, we didn't want him. Listen, let the play do the talking, and we go about it after that. But who knows? We have so many question marks, and we don't even know who's going to be making these picks. And at this point, it's a good thing that we don't know, because I'd rather not know it's going to be influenced by Dorsey, if it's really Dorsey and the scouting people who, again, the scouting people wanted Justin Jefferson, and Howie said, veto. Jamar Chase is like Devontae Adams. Devontae Smith is going to win the Heisman, though. Yeah, Jamar Chase opted out because of COVID. Bring in Rex Ryan or Dan Quinn, draft Parsons. How about Manuel? Our defensive back coach, Marquis Manuel. I think Waddle is still better than Smith. Interesting. Someone in the chat said Patricia as head coach or OC. Remember, Slay said he disrespected him. Oh yeah, if you get Patricia in at defensive coordinator, that's bad blood. He definitely did disrespect Slay. Definitely not head coach material. Possibly it could be a decent defensive coordinator. But remember, he was under Bill Belichick. So just because he's under him, Bill Belichick could have really been calling some of them defensive plays. So who really knows what Patricia is? But fact of the matter is, we got Slay for 2 more years, and it won't work. I love BG, but he's 32, and how much longer can he keep up what he's doing? Plus, the cap saving is needed. That is all facts. Sometimes it's hard as a fan to get the fanness out of it, because the dollar bills and production is what it's going to come down to. You know, BG playing for Philly for so long, being an underdog guy, a guy that no one thought could do what he do. He switches his scheme, goes from linebacker to defensive end, and just balls. You know what I mean? But sometimes you got to say bye. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. Do me a favor. If you're happy or you're type upset about the Jim Schwartz pick, do me a favor and smash that like button. We got 238 in the chat. It's easy. It's free. It don't cost nothing to smash that like button. But here's the thing. We got to realize we've been talking about it throughout the season, and definitely after that embarrassing loss to the Cowboys. The Eagles need change. The Eagles need change. And before the season over, we're already seeing change. To me, that's a sign of things to come. A sign of things to come. Whether you got the people who want change at the quarterback position or the head coach or the GM, maybe they all happens. Maybe some of them happen, but some change has to be done. You can't keep running back the same thing if it's not successful. That is the definition of insanity. To do it over and over again and expecting something different to come out of it. It's a definition of insanity. So shout out to you guys in the chat. Smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We do Eagles videos throughout the week on certain topics. We're going to have draft videos out, comparisons, Jamar Chase versus Devontae Smith, Patrick Surtain versus Caleb Farley. We're going to have a bunch of these type videos out, and we're going to do more live streams, call-ins, and all that good stuff. I might end this with a call-in and get y'all input on this Jim Schwartz possibly retiring. Why do I feel like everybody that said Carson's going to be why do I feel like everybody that said Carson's butt's going to be gone are nuts next year? Hey, I don't know, man. We're going to see. We still got a lot of stuff. I'm Awake said Smith is a superhero. I hear you. Waddle was a wide receiver 1 in the beginning of the college season. He was expected to be the first wide receiver taken in the draft, but he got hurt. Eagles will mess up the draft and draft a quarterback. What will y'all do with Carson? From a Washington fan, it's still up in the air. You know, there's a lot of things that can happen. We don't know if it's necessarily going to. Still got a lot of stuff, a lot of different things to look at. Howie has been whiffing for years. Y'all remember Danny Watkins, offensive lineman, 2011 draft was a major bust. Yeah, he's been whiffing for years. We had that stretch of good drafting, because Howie got put in the closet and they locked the door, and Chip Kelly was drafting. Now, I'm not saying Chip Kelly hit on all his picks, because he didn't, but he hit on more picks than Howie. So we just need to get John Dorsey. John Dorsey did a lot with Cleveland. The thing John Dorsey did wrong was put Freddie Kitchen as head coach. But Baker Mayfield, Kareem Hunt, Myles Garrett, a lot of them guys who are balling over there, he was a part of that. He found them. Obi-Wan Kenobi said, are you ready for tonight? You already know. I was actually doing a Sixers video about the East when this news broke. Who's the new defensive coordinator? We don't know yet. There's a couple veteran guys out there. There's a couple up-and-comers. But, from what I hear from you guys, and I was big on, the Dan Quinns, possibly checking out a Greg Williams, Leslie Frazier. I don't know if you're going to be able to pull people always say Rex Ryan and all that, but sometimes you get into broadcasting, which Rex Ryan does on Get Up. You don't want to leave that cozy lifestyle to come back to coaching, so it's tough. Genetic Freak says, obviously, they need to interview new candidates. Shut up. Hey, at the end of the day, it's always good to speculate who the Eagles will come and bring in. If Bears miss the playoffs, Nagy might be in play. Yeah, but I thought Nagy was an offensive coach. Would you trade Hurts for a first and a third? Ouch. Put me on the spot. Listen, if you can get a first and a third because of the money tied up with Carson, you might have to pull the trigger on that. Now, it would stink if Jalen Hurts is franchising somewhere else and balling out. That's why I wish we had more games more of a sample size to see how he is through adversity. He had his first pretty bad game. Let's see how he bounces back. But I can't really judge him in this game because I feel like the Eagles are going to pull punches away and they're taking everybody out. They got no skill players out there now. 9 more additional people not playing. So Jim Schwartz, who knows he's done, his decision supposedly, who knows how he plays. I think we're going to get beat against the Washington football team. Do you think we will end 17 with the winner loss versus Washington? Loss. You got Jim Schwartz really not going to be coaching hard. He's taking a year off. The difference was if Jim Schwartz is trying to get a defensive coordinator position next year, he still wants to show why he can coach. He's done. He's like, I'm taking a year off. Maybe I'll come back. It looks better this way than getting fired by the Eagles at the end of the season. Will Schwartz be there for the last game against us? Yes, he will. He's not fired. Jim Schwartz has pretty much made a statement saying, my contract expires at the end of the season. Instead of trying to talk to the Eagles like, hey, let's work on a contract. I want to be back. I'm just going to take a year off and think about my life. Will I retire? Will I stay? Will I retire? Will I try to be a coach in the future? That's what I want to do. Now, as my guy Be More Careful said, the writing's been on the wall that somebody's getting fired, and it could honestly be multiple people getting fired. But Jeff Lurie has a way of taking care of people who has been good to him. And regardless what you guys say, Jim Schwartz in the early part has been good to him prior to all these injuries and the stubbornness to adjust to the injuries with his scheme. So maybe he said, hey, step into my office. Look, we're going to go a different look. Your contract expires. You know that. I know that. I don't know if you wanted to get a new contract from us, but listen, Jimmy, can I call you Jimmy? Okay. Jimmy, we're going to go another way. I see 2 ways this can work. We can let you go at the end of the season, or you could save face and just say, you're done. That could be one way it happened. The other way it could happen could be like this. Jim Schwartz walked into the office like, look, are y'all going to offer me a contract? Maybe we're thinking about it. Keep it. You ain't give me no linebackers. You ain't give me no secondary. You didn't let me take Jeremy Chin. You didn't let me take the guys I wanted. You got me Javon Hargrave. I wanted somebody else. I don't know. But maybe he went in there like, you got no talent on defense. And the people that are talented are older. I don't know. Both scenarios could, I don't know. What do y'all think happened? Do y'all think Jim Schwartz went into the office and really said, look, and I'm done? Or do you think he got called in and said, look, be done or get fired at the end of the year? I don't know. Either way, The Philadelphia Eagles have to find a new defensive coordinator. And because Doug Peterson is still the head coach for now, and he's an offensive-minded head coach, he doesn't know a lick about defense. I don't want a young up-and-coming defensive coordinator. See, I said this earlier. I'm going to say it one more time. When you have a offensive-minded head coach, you can have a young up-and-coming OC. Because if the OC gets stuck, who's there to save him? The offensive-minded head coach. Same with the defense. If you're Bill Belichick, if you're Mike Tomlinson, if you're I can't even think of the Seahawks guy now. Somebody let me know quickly before I get it. Wow, talk about a brain for just I don't know. The Seahawks coach. Pete Carroll. Yes, I got it before y'all told me in the chat. There it goes. And Daniel Broaden was the first one to say, but Pete Carroll, when you're Pete Carroll, Thomason, or Bill Belichick, who are defensive-minded head coaches, you can get that young up-and-coming D coordinator because you're going to teach him a lot. And if he messes up, you got his back. I would be nervous for Doug Peterson to have an up-and-coming D coordinator and just he goes blank, and so does the defense. So I would think you'd want a guy like a Dan Quinn, a Greg Williams, a Leslie Snyder, guys who's been around a block. What do y'all talk? And everybody coming with the Pete Carrolls. Yeah, I don't know why I kept looking. I'm seeing him chewing gum too, and I just couldn't say his name. But I got it before you guys did. I was hoping. I can't lose my credibility, but shout out to everybody who came in with it. Bang. Philly Jackson said slipping. Yeah, I was like Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, and I couldn't think of Pete Carroll, but I got it. I said it right before Daniel, who was the first one, said it. Lorenzo Carson said facts, Mike. You already know. So you have to pretty much bring a veteran defensive coordinator in here. And that is what Jim Schwartz was. Hence, Jim Schwartz got hired as a defensive coordinator prior to bringing your head coach in, Doug Peterson. That's because they knew they were going to bring an offensive-minded guy in here who, listen, you do the defense, I'll do the other stuff. I'll let him rock. I thought Pete Carroll was an offensive-minded head coach. Not to my knowledge. Maybe I'm wrong. Seattle's defense hasn't been the same since Dan Quinn left. Yeah, but they also lost. They didn't just lose Dan Quinn. They also lost the Earl Thomases, the Cam Chantlers, the Richard Shermans. They kept Bobby Wagner, but, why Greg Williams? I mean, I like Greg Williams' scheme. Again, he got fired for the Jets, but at that part of throughout the season, the Jets were trying to tank for Lawrence, and he got fired when he just tried to help tank. He did something to help them lose, to force them to lose that game, blitzed everybody. But Greg Williams, as a coordinator throughout his career, look what he was able to do with the Saints. I mean, minus the bounty hunting. He was a good coordinator, minus the bounty hunting. He's been a good coordinator everywhere he's went besides the Jets, but the Jets are going to do that for you anyways. You know what I mean? Traquan, Takeem Hilton said Marquis Manuel has defensive coordinator experience. Yes, he was. Who was he a defensive coordinator for? I know he coached with the Falcons, but was he the defensive coordinator for the Falcons? Because I know he was a DB coach, and we brought him in to be a defensive back coach, but I know he was a coordinator somewhere. Jim Harbaugh. Greg Williams needs talent. That's true too. Hold on one second. I'll give you that. Greg Williams is a guy who plays his scheme wild with all the blitzing. So, you need talent on the outside if you're going to hire a Greg Williams. Same with like a Rex Ryan too. Rex Ryan wants to blitz. When he was with the Ravens, he had talent on the outside and talented linebackers. When he was with the Jets, he had Antonio Cromartie and Darrelle Revis. And Bart Scott came over from the Ravens. So now we got a lot of people in here saying that Manuel is the guy that we kind of want to take from defensive back coach and put him there as the defensive coordinator. He was fired as the Falcons defensive coordinator and they hated him. Interesting. That's not something you want to know about a guy. But the DBs never did anything great, and the secondary was always suspect with or without the DB talent that may have been brought in here. What are you talking about? We should go back to a 3-4. Man, I don't know. I've always been a guy who Greg Williams is dirty. I don't want him, period. Yeah, right. I mean, bounty hunting is bounty hunting. You can't deny that he put some bounties out there. No 3-4 defensive coordinators. Manuel was fired after 1 year. The Falcons defense was not good that year. Marquis has defensive coordinator experience with the Falcons. Yes. But like I said, when you get fired after 1 year, that's kind of like an indictment on you. Dang, you only got 1 year? Thank God Alex Smith is going to start. Yeah, man. Hey, shout out to the Washington football team. Let them get that dub. We could use Carson if y'all don't want him. I'm just saying. Oh, man. See, now we got division rivals wanting Carson. Dude said Rob Ryan. Cameron said, I hate 3-4 formations. Yeah, me too. Beat Washington football team. I'm definitely not big on 3-4 as well. No Greg Williams. I want Dan Quinn or Rex Ryan, two guys that will coach the defense from D-line to secondary, unlike Jim Schwartz, who relies on the D-line. Eagles need someone who will coach the D-line to the back end. Yeah, but you got to remember, Rex Ryan is a heavy blitzer as well, and he's always had decent to great secondary help where it's supported. If you got Darrelle Revis over here and Antonio Cromartie over here, you can send everybody. Let them man up. They're not going to get beat as much. Plus, that was back in the era where you could hand check a little bit. Now, it's all, if you breathe too hard on the wide receiver, they throw in that yellow flag, especially if you're the Eagles. Manuel was the scapegoat. Hold on 1 second. We needs to go. Who's the who? Eagles wide receiver coach is trash. Press Taylor, trash. Fire everyone. Hey, I was on the fire Press Taylor since last year. D. Aldridge said top 5 pick. I'll take it. Schwartz should have been fired after the Super Bowl. The scheme isn't the best. I'd rather have an attacking defense. No 3-4 or 3-4/4-3 hybrid schemes. Yeah, so you just want a regular 4-3. I hear you. Sean McDermott got fired after 1 year with us, and look at him now. True. Great. He's a great head coach. I mean, he's always has, since he's been the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, the defense has always been good as well. So that's true. It's more about context, I guess, because people could be scapegoated, as they're saying Markel Manuel was scapegoated. Because look at Rich Stranello. He was a 1-year offensive coordinator for the Broncos. We try to use that same thing. He was scapegoated. And so far, that Rich Stranello dude who's supposedly supposed to help Doug hasn't done anything to help this team. Do you have to draft for your new possible scheme or do you have to draft for your new possible scheme or defensive coordinator? I mean, you always want to get the coordinator in here. Of course, we'll have to, because you want them to influence the pick. Man, I like this guy. I can use him. I can see this. I can do this. But you don't automatically want to just draft for fit. That's why the Eagles got to get back to drafting best player available. It's a lesser chance you're going to get a bust. If you draft for fit, you're taking the best player at that position, but that position, there might have been a big drop off from the top 5. If the top 3 or 4 or 2 are going from a position, the drop off can be significantly different than just the best player available. So I know we have some holes and we got to look at some of these spots, but you also just got to sometimes take the best player available. It works. And again, when you do that motto, best player available, it's not going to help you just right that year. But if you did that over time, you would have talent. We would have Pro Bowlers, most likely, a lot more than we have. Because Carson Wentz is the only one who's made the Pro Bowl since what? 16, 15, 13, 14? I don't know. Victory said Devontae Smith 2021. Listen, I can't wait to actually dive deep. I'm going to watch the worst game, the best game of each player, Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase, and I'm going to do a comparison video. I'm going to do the same thing with Caleb and Patrick Surtain and Caleb Farley, or Fairley, however you say it. I'm going to watch the best, worst game and say my positive and negatives on each one. A lot of holes to fill. Pause. Yeah, you're right. Patrick Surtain will not work at quarterback, even though I want Chase will work, not will not. He will work at cornerback, even though I want Chase or Smith. Sean McDermott was with the Eagles for years before he got to defensive coordinator, and he was taken over by Jim Johnson. He didn't stand a chance. Oh, yeah. Jim Johnson was that guy. Shout out to Jim Johnson. Rest his soul. R.I.P. Cancer. You know what I mean? When he went away, the Eagles defense went away, and we actually never recovered from Jim Johnson. Fire Press Taylor after the season, hired Josh McCown as quarterback coach. Yeah, man. If Press Taylor don't go, I'm going to be totally upset because you got a guy who was horrible as the quarterback coach, and he got promoted to the passing game coordinator / quarterback coach / Doug Peterson's right-hand man. Like, how? Doesn't make sense. Best player available is the name of the game. Young, flourishing talent is what this team needs. Out with the old, in with the new. I'm with it. Devontae Smith, complete. Is Michael Gallup. What do you think about that? His comparison, you're saying? He's still less heavy. I mean, what is it? Devontae Smith is 170, 175. I mean, he's still got to work into his NFL frame. But like I said, I've only caught glimpses of both Chase and Smith. I like what they can do. Don't get me wrong. I've seen a little bit more Smith this year because Jamar Chase opted out. But I really want to dig deep into them. So that video is going to be dropping within the next week or so, couple days. Comparison video, strengths, weaknesses, my opinion. I'm going to throw it all out there. Jameer McNeil said, Surtain, Parsons, or O-line. Schwartz had to go. He's bend, but don't break. D, don't cut it for us anymore. I hear you. Edwin Solano said, trade down, get Caleb Farley to get an extra pick to fix some of these holes. Trade him back. If we get a top 3 pick and we're set on drafting a defensive back, then that's when you might trade back to 14, 13. You gain an extra second round pick early, and you can really start flooding this team with some young talent. Jake Elliott got a kicker. Hey, man, Jake Elliott. The roller coaster of Jake Elliott, man, that's rough. Is Chase played this year? His stock would two down though. You saying his stock would have went down if he played this year? We're gonna get another quarterback for the factory. Yo, Jeremy said, yeah, the little 600-yard BS in the Super Bowl. Jimmer is really lucky the Lord was on his side that season. He's trash. He doesn't even have a game plan straight out of his own mouth. He reacts to the offense and adjusts. Actually, I think one of the worst things is he doesn't adjust. He adjusted in the Cowboys game for the first time in the second half. But to me, he doesn't adjust. I also agree, Jeremy, sometimes he doesn't have game plans. There was a press conference. He came out. I think it was after what game was it? I forgot what game was. The Rams game, I believe. He said, we really didn't have a game plan going into it or something. It's like, you what? How does that happen? You're a defensive coordinator. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you are practicing for the opponent you're watching. You watch game tape, you see what they do a lot, their tendencies. You didn't put a game plan in? Wow. Howie is still the GM, so I won't be surprised if I see you and Fresh play linebacker next season for the Eagles. Hey, I hear you, though. Keep hearing about this kid, Justin Hillard from Ohio State. What do you think about him? Don't know about him too much, but listen, that's why I like when you guys comment on my videos or anything and you throw out names. I definitely do my due diligence. I'll start looking up some stuff. I always will watch the highlights, but then from the highlights, I'll go to, there's certain sites that tell you this kid's best game and his worst game. So you can watch the whole game of a college tape. I mean, a college game that was his worst. So to see where he struggles, press man, is it zones? Is it the fact that he can't get in and out of his break? He's the long ball catcher. He's not the short ball catcher. Did they take away his, inside routes or, all that stuff? You get to really get to see. 76ers looking good and Eagles starting to build up now. Let's make it a better for today's game, boys. Yeah, shout out to the Sixers who lead the Eastern Conference. I mean, listen, right now the Nets and the Bucks are still finding themselves. They're both 3-3. But it's still early, way too early in the NBA season to get too crazy. Chase is going to Miami. Rex Ryan will be a good fit. I doubt if he leaves TV. You got to remember, some people get comfy in their TV, sitting in the broadcast. Zones equals picks, not man. Yeah, it's always been stated that when you play man defense, majority, you're going to get less picks because you're looking at the guy. When you play zone, everything is in front of you. So I agree there. A la Asante Samuel was nasty in zone coverage. Devontae Smith plays all over, but had most of his touchdowns in the slot this year. Yeah, but I want to be careful about slot receivers because Justin Jefferson said, "Hold my beer." However, Justin Jefferson weighed more than Devontae Smith, so it's definitely going to be interesting. Jalen said, as of today, your starting linebackers will be Singleton, Duke, and Gary, Taylor, and Singleton, and BG, Barnett, Sweat, Avery. Everyone here didn't work or has never covered before. Exactly. So, and even a guy like Singleton, who I like, the downhill presence he provides, still not great in cover. Duke did okay watching running backs out the backfield, but it's nothing to be like, that's our guy. And so we'll see. We're going to see if it was more of Jim Schwartz not wanting linebackers or whoever's drafted. And hopefully it's not. Listen, you don't bring John Dorsey in here to just say, hey, guys, I'm on the staff. No, he has to be a part of the drafting process. Wilfredo said these next couple of drafts are going to be hell if Howie does the drafting. That is facts. That is facts. Zach Wilson looks like a Patty Mahomeboy 2.0. Yeah, I said it. Oh, man. Hot takes coming out of nowhere. Would you trade Ben Simmons for James Harden? Try to sneak that in there. Not yet. I got to see more. I'm not a fan of drafting anyone in the top 10 unless it's a quarterback. Get multiple picks, especially the second round. Yeah, listen, if you are pick number 3, 4, or 5, and you have your guy set on Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley, I believe they're going to go in the teens to the 20s. I got to do my due diligence more. Don't get me wrong. But if you feel like you could go back to the 13, 14, still get the guy that you want, but then get an extra early second round pick, you're talking about the 4th overall for the 13th overall and the 42nd overall. And maybe a 4th. I'm in there. And like that was one I was talking about. His adjustments either don't happen or take away too long. Fly, Eagles, fly. Shout out to you. I agree. Like I said, the biggest thing this Philadelphia Eagles team needs is just change. We need to see that this organization is willing to get better. Now, in the process of getting better, we might take a couple bumps in the road, a step back or so, but you gotta show something different. You went from Super Bowl 3 playoff appearances, but each year it's harder to get to the playoffs. We're struggling to get to the playoffs. So change is necessary. Doug play calling, there's nobody in their right mind who could watch and say it wasn't bad in certain situations. The quarterbacks have to be talked about and worked with. But whether it's Jalen Hurts or it's Carson Wentz, I don't feel comfortable with Press Taylor being that guy who molds these guys. What is Marty Morningway doing? What is Rich Scranginello doing? Andrew Briner. There's just too many people in the kitchen. Nobody's making me my dinner. I see all these chefs. No food. All these minds. No points. What's going on? The minds ain't getting it done. If the scouts say draft one of those top guys, then Howie better go back in the closet. Chip Kelly had him in. Exactly. I believe John Dorsey has to be the Chip Kelly lock Howie in the closet type strategy. I'm an Eagles fan from Edmond, Oklahoma. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Juju Smith-Schuster going to get paid for Dancing with the Stars, right? It's like, nah, he loves it. I subscribe to your channel. Shout out to you, my guy. Listen, we got 241 people in here. Make sure you smash that like button if you haven't done it already. It's free. It's easy. It don't cost a thing. Show love to the Philly Talk Podcast, Philly Nation, all day, every day. Change is happening, whether we like it or not, whether it was he was going to get fired or not. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how we go about getting new guys in. The fact of the matter is we got to get them in here. I'm for Dan Quinn for our next defensive coordinator. Another guy who was a head coach who possibly could go back to being a coordinator because of the unsuccessfulness of being a head coach. Like I said earlier, I want to repeat it one more time. Jim Schwartz was the head coach of the Detroit Lions. Realized it wasn't working for him there. Took a D coordinator position. When you are a Jim Schwartz, a Dan Quinn, when you are a defensive coordinator who eventually became a head coach, when you go back in time and take a lesser role on any other team, when you go from a head coach back to a coordinator, you normally go to a job that's going to let you run the show in that coordinator position. Doug Peterson don't know a lick of defense, so he's like, look, Jim, you do the defense. I'll take care of the rest. That's it. I believe if Doug Peterson is our guy next year, if he's our guy, you got to get a guy in here who knows how to just run the defense himself. No help, no young boy, no young up-and-comer, because who's going to mold him? Not Doug. He's about the offense, and he's not really good at that. So I think you need to get a guy in here like a Dan Quinn, Leslie Frazier, just a guy who's been a defensive coordinator and or head coach who can be totally responsible for the defense. If we lose the entire defensive line to get under the cap, like I have heard, I expect another rough season in 2021. I don't expect to lose Fletch because of his restructure and the willingness of him to restructure. And we got guys on there. I think if one guy is going to get lost, it's Malik Jackson. I think Malik Jackson is going, possibly Derek Barnett. And Brandon Graham is another guy who I believe will restructure because he's going to get paid $15 million next year if he don't restructure. And if he doesn't, he might be cut too. But my two guys is Malik Jackson and Derek Barnett will not be here. Trevor Moehrig is better than Javon Holland. Interesting. I got to check. Jim Schwartz is Wade Phillips 2.0. If we don't get Dan, I don't want to hear anything when we blow a 20. Oh, if we do get Dan and we blow another. But let's be honest, though. They fired Dan Quinn and they were still getting leads cut on them. I mean, when they played the Bucs, and Tom Brady came back once again, it wasn't with Dan Quinn. You know what I mean? Shout out to my guy Murder Music said, let's get the likes up over 200. Where we at, my guys? Where we at with these likes? I think Jason Kelce is going to be gone next year. Every season is tough because he's been talking about retiring, and it's very likely that next season he retires or the season after that. He's not going to be around much longer, if not be done this season. So with that being said, you got to start making sure you got your ducks in order. Are they going to put Isaac Samalu to replace him at center and then put someone to replace Samalu at left guard? But you got to get your offensive line in order, because that is what's going to make your franchise successful in the long term. Your quarterback success is going to come down to, can you protect them? I love Brandon Brooks. I love Lane Johnson. But the last 2 years, where have they been? In and out, up and down. Not up and down. When they play, they ball. Don't get me wrong. Philly fans always want change for the sake of change. My question is, who are you going to get that's better than what you had? Listen, I understand. When you look at Jim Schwartz all around, he was a good coordinator. But with the talent we have and the way we play, he wasn't getting it done in Philly. It's time for him to go. Now, we might not necessarily get a more accomplished guy, but we have to change a lot up. And it starts with change because of what we were doing wasn't successful. It's a difference that if you're successful and it's not broke, don't try to fix it. But it's been broke. Eagles Nest Sports Talk. Shout out to you. But as I see your picture, you got Jalen Hurts in there. Philly fans always want change for the sake of change. Your picture shows me you want change too. Ronnie McLeod, what about McLeod? Again, didn't he tear his Achilles? So he was on a 1-year deal with a player option, so a 2-year deal pretty much. 2-year deal, tears his Achilles. Injuries have been the downfall of the Eagles. How do you really bring them back? How do you really feel confident in it? You know, we have some problems. We on a 2-year rebuild, bottom line. 4 D linemen front with 3 backers as opposed to 3 down linemen, defensive front with 4 linebackers. Are you explaining it, or are you saying that's what you want to say? Pep Hamilton for head coach or OC. Doug has no idea about offense either, or else he would have gotten Carson's mechanics straight. Hey, I hear you, my guy. Let's see what we got going. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys 100%. We got it at 145 likes. Let's boost this over 200. 233 people in the chat. Smash that like button for your boy. Like I said, we're going to have some defensive coordinator videos coming up. I'm going to keep my ears out on the Rumorville. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you didn't. Appreciate it. Go ahead and follow your boy on Twitter, because listen, if you follow me on Twitter and you hear any type of Rumorville, you shoot it to my DM. Bang. I hear it. I hit you back. If I end up making a video on something that y'all gave me, I'm going to shout you out. A shout out to such and such name. Let me know this stuff. Let's get it. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody in the chat. Smash that like button. It's free. It's easy. Let's go. P-Bar says Driscoll can play center. I like Driscoll as a lineman. Now, the one thing that worries me about Driscoll is he's a rookie and already 2 injuries. Forgot what the injuries were off the top of my head, but he got hurt, had to leave for a couple games, came back, got hurt again. Is he going to have that type of career? An Achilles tear as a DB is crazy. Footwork is key. Exactly. I like Ronnie McLeod. I think he was having a low-key, pretty type season. Like, sub, and hit that bell. You already know. P-A-S-T. Pasta Jack Jr. What's going on with you? Get DPs. Move to a 30 front. Less money. Dang. It's like that. Will Slay and Maddox keep it too? Hey, Slay and Maddox keep too. I guess, Vontae Maddox was drafted here to be a slot corner. I mean, that's what he was supposed to be. We've asked him to already now play safety, play outside corner. And I'm not saying he didn't play safety right, but he was drafted here to be a slot. We got too many slots. Nickel Roby Coleman is a slot. Avonte Maddox is a slot. Crevion LeBlanc is a slot. They're good guys in the slot, even though Nickel Roby Coleman has been a little bit of cheeks. But they're good in the slot. But at the end of the day, who are you going to fulfill the outside corner next to Darius Slay with? That's been an unknown spot forever. We'll have significant cap space in 2022 and 2023. 2023 will be our bounce back year. Doug is going to be here 3 years more. He's going to get this year. The roster is going to flip crazy. That's an excuse. So he gets another year with the young players, and then the final year. You think all that? Jeff Lurie doesn't really go that long with playing with these guys. Rasul said, I want tough coach. We need a tough identity. I mean, yeah, man, you can't be in Philly with all this mushy stuff. It's let's go. You know what I mean? Philly don't play around. I'm tired of Doug and want a winning head coach who has free reign without drama from the front office. So give me Jim Harbaugh as head coach and John Dorsey as the GM. Interesting. In your opinion, you drafting Devontae Smith or Patrick Surtain? I really want to see where things fall. Because if you want the receiver, I think you got to pick him earlier. You want the corner, I think you can pick him later. So then I'll be willing to trade back, get Surtain, and possibly get some more picks to fill these holes. Driscoll is best at right tackle. He's going to take over for Lane Johnson when Johnson's contract expires in 2022. I agree. We saw him play his best football at that position. That's not to say he can't play anywhere else, but that's what you would want him to replace, which is 2022 is not far away. Trust and believe that. However, Driscoll's injuries are concerning, being he's a rookie and injured twice. Cameron said, no, let's draft a center. Stop it. We need linebackers. I agree. Patrick Surtain at Colts because the next year Slay is gone. Oh, you were saying that's what you would do. Is it our medical staff or is it just bad luck as far as all the injuries we've been having for the last 4 or 5 years? And I would have to say this. If it happened 1 year, 2 years tops, more of a just bad luck, coincidence. But after multiple years of just saying, can we be healthy? It starts to be, that's pretty much the Eagles' identity. Injuries. Next man up, which we're just not getting it done the same way when it comes to next man up because we don't got the talented next man up because of failing in the draft. Something's got to change. Now you saw the Niners get destroyed with injuries this year, so it wasn't just the Eagles, but my God, can we have 1 year? 1 year. Is that too hard to ask? Rashad said, breaking news, Mike. Doug expected to return according to ESPN. Where did you see? So ESPN said that? Who reported it on ESPN, though? Philadelphia Eagles expected to bring back Doug Peterson for 2021. It just popped 8 minutes ago. Who wrote this article, though? Breaking news, Doug to meet with owner on Tuesday. Oh, man. 6-10 division winner is embarrassing. Lane's been injured a ton, and remember, Jason Peters' injuries don't seem to be that much of a concern. Better have an OC. I hear you. If Doug stays, how we got to go? Exactly. Listen, here's what I will say. Shout out to iShine. There's no way I can see both Howie and Doug both being back because most of the drama, most of the dysfunction, most of the disconnect on this team is from them two. Howie Roseman wants to do it his way. Doug wants to do it his way. Neither way, when arguing about it, is getting the job done. We had crazy injuries in the Super Bowl year. Joe Douglas. Football gods hate us, and they want us to suffer. It's a new day in Philly, starting with Jim Schwartz. Retirement. A change has begun. Shout out to my guy. Tim Hawk for defensive coordinator. He's one of Jim Johnson guys. He's been around the building. I believe he's our safety coach, extremely aggressive, was a big time hitter. You know who? You know he. Hey, anybody who knows Jim Johnson is, you got to consider, but like it says, sometimes, I don't know, but he's been around the building for so long, maybe he lost the Jim Johnson tendencies and started picking up some Jim Schwartz tendencies. It's me, nobody said you're getting pretty close to 8K subs, Mike. Shout out to you guys. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We do live streams. We do call-ins. We do live play-by-plays. And last but not least, throughout the week, we drop videos on certain opinions, certain topics. If there's news, I either go live or I record a regular video podcast, 10 to 15 minutes, and we keep it moving. So hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't done it already, smash the like button. We already know it's free. It's easy. Shout out to you guys. Do you think Jalen Mills will come back? I want to say no. However, if we're as broke, if we let guys go and we start to get some money, maybe. But if we're as broke as we think we're going to be, who are we going to get to replace them in the secondary? If McLeod injury is all year to listen, McLeod got hurt late in the season. He's not going to be back for the first 5 or 6 weeks. We might be forced to keep him because cheap. He's like hitting a like button. It's cheap. It's easy. Just hit it. Nah, hopefully he's not back though, to be honest. Shout out to my guy CW Gearhead with the $10 super chat. No lunch break. Happy to catch you live. Now we got one going. Next up, Howie and Doug time to wipe the slate clean and start fresh. Front office down to an assistant coaches. I hear you. But someone just reported, and I did look, and it did say it on my phone, that ESPN wrote an article saying that Doug is expected to return. Now, I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to fully believe it. But at the end of the day, someone also said that Doug is expected to meet with the owner, Jeff Lurie, on Tuesday. So we're going to see. But real quick on that Jalen Mills topic, he should be going. I would hope he's going, but you never know. Mills need to be going, to be honest. You already know. He said no since Jim's gone. The sad part about y'all team is y'all going to have the same team because no cap. Salt should have been an addition. Salt should have been an addition to the defense opposed to a replacement. Jenkins and Slay would have made a hella difference. I hear you. If we get a defensive coordinator, we might be getting Patrick Surtain next Ramsey. Did they rule out Brooks yet? Just dumb to play him. I never heard that he was going to be active to the game day, the active roster. I heard they were activating him so he can do drills with the team and one-on-one drills. I mean, I think when people heard he was getting activated to do drills, they automatically assumed. I don't think they're going to play him. They're not playing Miles Sanders, Fletcher Cox. They're not playing the guys who are just a little bit nicked up. Well, Fletch got a neck problem, but they're not playing him. I feel like we need to lose this game against the Skins. The draft can only help us out to bring this team back to the promised land. Shout out to you, my guy. I agree. Jalen Reagor is good, but he's not a number one. Looks like it so far. Mills has held it down as much as he could, which is more than anyone else in the backfield aside Darius Slake saying, yeah, that's my take on Jalen Mills. Should he be back? No. Who's going to replace him? Let me ask you this. You want Jaquette to start over Mills? You want Jaquette? Listen, at least when they made the switch from Jaquette to Mills, he was able to hold it down a little bit in the second half. Mills is not good. But when you're broke, this might be all we can afford. If we bring back Mills, it's not that he's a cornerstone piece. We're going to build a defense around him. No. Jalen Mills will be a Band-Aid until this team in 2022, 2023 has some money to spend. You know what I mean? It's a Band-Aid. Mills is very versatile. He wasn't the worst safety, but he didn't play up to the par that I wanted him to. And again, Mills could come back just to be a Band-Aid until we get bread to do what we got to do. It's not the medical staff's fault for all the injuries. It's a, nurtrial problem and supplement problem. A shout out to Eagle Sixer fan keeping it real. He had a great comment on one of my last videos about, getting these players more involved in like testing and stuff like that to just be, because look, when you're injured for 3-4 years in a row, something got to change. You play the game to win. Next year, we start rebuilding this team by drafting. Greetings from the Netherlands. Shout out to my guy. I agree. I can't stand turning the game on and saying I want to lose. I've never been in that mindset. I've been doing YouTube for now. This is going on my second season. So less than 2 years, but 2 football seasons almost. By next football season will be exactly 2 years. It comes down to this. I want to win. We got to start by winning the draft. Wilfredo said Mills ain't going anywhere. Ohio State got that speedy light skin, and if Surtain gets burnt, we'll see. My guy Todd once said, wide open. That was my saying all through the season. If you guys follow me in my live play-by-plays for the Eagles, everybody's wide open. That's trash. As a 7th round draft pick, Mills has gone farther than I expected. That is true, too. You always got to look at where they came from. Jalen Mills is a Band-Aid and a great locker room guy. Facts. Shout out to my guy, CW Gearhead, with the $10 super chat. Hire Trent Cole as the defensive coordinator and D-Hawk as the secondary coach. I mean, I remember when there was legit rumors about Brian Dawkins being part of this coaching staff. I would have loved it, but I just don't know if it's reality. Listen, you see great players who you think would make great coaches, but it doesn't necessarily always pan out that way. And you also got to remember, some of these players are doing what they're doing. They're content in their life. It's like, with all these YouTube shows and stuff like that, it's like, it's hard to be like, hey, Trent Cole, do you want to be a coach? Nah, I'm chilling. All right. Well, now you offer him a contract. It's, money talks, but it's still hard to just get guys who are not really in the coaching business to do it. Yo, did you hear they expect Doug back? Depressed Eagle fan, shout out to you, man. I did hear that. Somebody on here let me know. Go get Greg Williams right now. Ha. Hopefully the Sixers can pull the Eagles' weight by winning the chip this year. I'll take it. Number 1 in the East right now. Jets laid down and it costed them the best quarterback in a generation. We'll see. Eagles Nest, he's having a hell of a career considering Mills' draft position. Facts. Surtain is going to be good, but ain't no lockdown corner. Wide open, pulse. Haha, Death, Beard, saving me. I appreciate you. Lawrence is the next Peyton. Only time will tell. Tom Brady would make a great coach. Next thing I want to see is Doug and Howie gone. I hear you, my guy, but there's rumors coming out that ESPN has reported that Doug is expected to be back. We about to see though. We want Robert Salam. So in the past 15 years or so, why have we been so notoriously bad at drafting linebackers and corners? And for the last 15 years, Howie was a part of that. Howie's been here for the longest time. It's Howie. It's Howie. You know, when's the last time we had, the Seth Joyners, the Jeremiah Trotters? I'll even take a Ike Reese at this point. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I'd rather have Jim over Doug. Doug is useless. We won't be number one once we play the Hawks. Sorry, the Hawks are good right now. We about to see. This is why we should have kept Will Parks. Facts. Another piece who was cheap for the secondary. It was stupid to get rid of him. Mike Singletary as head coach, I like him. Eric Bieniemy as the head coach, I like that too. If Doug's back, bringing an OC for Doug, there's no way you can. There's no way you can bring in what do you call it? There's no way you can't bring in an OC. After seeing the struggles on offense, there's no way. No way. Harry Roseman is getting fired. Lurie is getting tired of this team. He literally made Schwartz retire before firing him. That's kind of where I think it was too, to save face. Yeah, hey, Eagles champ, relax, my guy. Ain't nobody got beef. It's just there's a lot of comments. I don't even know where I was now. The medical staff hasn't been good since Chip Kelly was here. He may stunk as a coach, but barely no one was injured. Exactly. His little protein shake diet routine was legit for keeping guys on the field. That's facts. Reese Scott in the building. What's going on, my guy, Philly Mike? When we need to find a good defensive coach here in Philly, who's out there for us? And we need to boost our offensive line and wide receivers. That's facts. We always can use that. And like I said, if I'm the Eagles, I'm bringing a veteran guy in here. There's no way I'm getting a young up-and-coming guy with an offensive-minded coach who don't know a lick of defense. I'm going to bring in a Leslie Frazier, a Dan Quinn, a Greg Williams, one of them guys. And I'm not talking about the Rex Ryans and stuff like that, for the simple fact that they were D coordinators, but they're doing their own thing now. It's hard to get people off the, broadcast and stuff like that. Seth Joyner or Todd Bowles for D coordinator. Hey, Todd Bowles, I like him too. He's a little blitz heavy too at sometimes. He's the defensive coordinator for the Bucs right now, though. So sometimes it's hard to get a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator to leave their spot to just be the same thing. Like if you're offering a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator a head coaching job, see ya, they come running. But they're not going to leave one organization out as a coordinator to be another one. They might as well stay unless the organization wants to go a different way. Kill with the $4.99 super chat. Shout out to my guy. It's a bunch of suckers running Philly. Opposed to firing Howie, they went and got the man some help. Hey, that's what it looks like so far. They bring in John Dorsey to help them instead of just saying, enough is enough, Howie. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Power Rangers, what's going on? Because Howie goes by analytics rather than knowing a player. Exactly. And you can't do that. Listen, after you fail multiple times, you got to be able to see it's not working. Change it up. 100% right. A good player is not always a good coach. You have to have people skills. Next week, I start looking at the draft prospects. Always exciting time to dream to get the right one. Exactly. It's exciting up until they make the wrong decision. Think we should just start over? The Birds need to get a good D coach. We're going to definitely need to get a good defensive coordinator and build pieces around them. I just seen this. Let's go. Got to make a video about it. Hey, shout out to my guy, Let's Go Birds. Definitely check him out. Eagles to retain Doug Peterson reports, NFL.com. It's been reported on ESPN and NFL now that it looks like the Eagles are going to retain Doug Peterson. Asante Samuel Jr. is a beast, man. If he got his dad showing him how to ball, I agree. I want to see the 76ers stop at 3-point. Yeah, I mean, the Hawks got a little squad. Don't get me wrong. I see them. But we're going to have to see how it works. Hawks are good, but I think the Sixers are a better basketball team than last year. It's obvious the main thing is their coaching. Yeah, listen, shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you smash that like button. And if you like live play-by-plays, I will be doing the Sixers versus the Hornets. I believe it's at 7 o'clock. Live play-by-play. Come through. Watch the game with me, chill out, you know what I mean? Because how we draft character instead of talent. Exactly, character. I'm playing with you, Mike. Harry Roseman needs to go. I'm not getting excited until he's gone. Shout out to that. Shout out to Kara Poole in the chat. Back. Haven't seen you in a minute. You got a lot of Dan Quinns in the chat. Take Williams. Bill Coward, head coach. Are you going to get him to leave CBS? You got to get him to leave CBS. Reese Scott said, can we be like the 76ers new GM? Listen, that's what happened. The 76ers went out and got a new GM, a new coaching staff. And it's early in the season, but they're 4-1, playing good basketball. The Eagles need to follow suit. Follow suit. Follow suit. Why did we draft Jalen Hurts? Bill Belichick. Come on, my guy. Doug said the same thing about Mike, and look what happened. Dun, dun, dun. That's true. That's true. That's true. Mike, in your opinion, bro, who you honestly think who needs to go, Hurts or Wentz? I need to hear your answer. Woo, woo. It's more than just that. Here's the thing. I need to see who we let go on the defensive side of the ball to fix the cap. If you're just talking talent, one of them got to go. There's no repercussions of money and all that stuff. Then it's a lot easier. But you're talking about cap hits to how much money we got, who's cheaper, who fits, who are we retaining, who are we letting go, who are we drafting, how are we going? If we're going to rebuild for the next 3 years, so you don't want to put a 28-year-old quarterback to 28, 29, 30, 31 is his prime years, and we're rebuilding them years. You know what I'm saying? If we're legitly rebuilding, well, then maybe Carson Wentz is not the right guy regardless, even if he is fixed. Because we're rebuilding. You want the younger guy. 4 years when you're good, Jalen Hurts is 26. 4 years when you're good, Carson Wentz is 32. If it's 3 years, it's 31 to 25. You know what I mean? So these are the questions that we have to figure out before we can pick. Do I think Carson Wentz can be fixed under a different coaching staff? Yes. Do I think Jalen Hurts can play even better under a different coaching staff? Yes. They're both good options. I'm going to make my decision in the offseason where I'm on record saying if I'm the Eagles, this is what I'll do. However, I'm also going to support whatever happens because I rock with the shield. But I have to see money. If Doug Peterson's back, he hasn't done anything to help Carson Wentz. Maybe you got to go Jalen Hurts. See, all that plays a part. Who's the coach? How much money we got? Where are we going from here? Who's the general manager? All that plays a part. It's not just like, you know what? I'm about to play Madden. If I'm playing Madden right now, I can sub out Carson. I could put Jalen Hurts. That's a different story. You're talking about an organizational decision that's going to affect us in so many other ways for the next couple years while we are either retooling or rebuilding. But we're redoing something. There's no way that anybody can just say, we're going into next year with the mindset that we're a top contender for the Super Bowl? How? We don't even know what's going on. We don't even know what's going on. You know what I mean? Shout out to my guy, Nate Satterfield, though. I appreciate you 100%. I just can't physically say that answer right at this moment. You know what I'm saying? I want a young, innovative head coach like Lincoln Riley and a veteran OC like Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell got he didn't he just get a job? Somebody picked him up for head coach or offensive coordinator already. I think he's not on the market no more. Would you like wait, oh, you're talking to Reese. The quarterback factory doesn't rebuild. Retooling. I hear you. Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat. Like I said, we still got a $1.95. We've been going on for an hour and 36. I actually wanted to do a call-in show, but you know, it is what it is. Let's see if we can get this over 200 likes before we jump up out of here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys 100%. It's easy. It's free. We got 178. Let's get it over 200. We need 22 more likes. 22 more likes. Let's get it. I'm going to read a couple more comments. We need more than a few pieces. Facts. Texans? What are we talking about the Texans for? Wentz fanboys want everybody gone because their guy was a flop. If they don't get a good offensive coordinator, keeping Doug will hurt us for 5+ years. That definitely could be. You know, Doug Peterson has yet to show his situational skills. I'm not saying Doug Peterson can't rally the troops. I'm not saying the players don't play for him. I'm not saying he's not a good coach in many other assets, but play calling he cannot do on his lonesome. Brian Dawkins was a director of player personnel after Big Harold retired. Fly Eagles fly. Yeah, I would loved him to stay tuned in the organization as someone that we can use in coaching. Nobody picked up Jim Caldwell, but the Texans brought him in for an interview. Oh, so he didn't get picked up. He was only interviewed. I see. Courtney said, I think it's time for them all to go. Wentz got to go just because of his age, money involved, and Hurts is good and cheap. That might be. Eagles nest, so what's fanboys because he's terrible head coach. Reddick, be a good general manager here. He knows how to get players good. Players, he knows football. Yeah, you heard him trying to advocate for that on that one football game that he covered for us. He was giving it to Howie Roseman. Wouldn't surprise me if Kelsey retires. Do we go O-line early in the rounds? That's a huge factor. You know what I mean? He's been flirting with the word retirement for a while now. You got to get your ducks in order for when he retires. Who was the only one left on the offensive line that started? Kelsey. And he might retire. If he starts giving us, signs of retirement, you might have to go offensive lineman first. I know the Farleys and the Surtains look great on defense. The Michael Parsons, the Chases, the Smiths. But they can't get open if there's no protect. Like, hopefully, we can figure out Kelsey for something. A year more. Give us a little bit more time to try to fill some holes. Regardless, you got to get offensive linemen in this draft, whether it's first round pick or third round pick. That's why it's important if we trade back. If we get the third overall pick and we want a defensive player who's going to be there around 13 through 17, you trade back to 14, you get an extra second, you get an extra third, maybe fourth. You still got a first round pick in the middle. You get your guy. You drop 2 heavy hitters in the second round, maybe an offensive lineman. A lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. Doug coaching play calling is all the way off. Happy New Year's, Mike. Can Doug can Doug do general manager also? I mean, Doug's problem is he wants to be the sole play caller because he has no other say. It's Howie Roseman show. Do you think Philadelphia 76ers can win the championship with Embiid and Ben? I'm not going to. I think so. If you get the right pieces around him, but Ben's still got to be more aggressive. I do not like the way Ben's playing right now. I was actually making a video on the Sixers until this happened. So I won't be making the video. I'll make the video tomorrow, but I will be doing my live play-by-play. So come through at 7 o'clock live. CW Gearhead said, oh, shout out to CW Gearhead with another super chat, a $20 banger. Question to everyone saying Wentz is gone. Now you're going to get his contract. Wait, Wentz is gone. Now you're going to get his contract away with a decent gain for the Eagles as well after he had a rough year. I love Wentz and the Eagles, but gotta get good deal for him and take contract. So you're saying that we got to get someone to take the contract off our hands, take the hit initially this year, but then regain the money back that you would have been given 2022, 2023, and maybe 24. You might have to. Like I said, the restructure of these guys that we want to keep, the guys that we get off the books, the money we free up, all these decisions, I believe, is going to play a part into whether we keep Carson Wentz and try our damnedest to fix him or go another way. That's all going to play a part in that. Offensive tackle, first pick, no other way. Already have 2 second-round picks. We'll get another one, get a third. 2020 Fission in the building. What's going on? Big play, Slay in the building. Jinx Wolf in the building. Vic 3 channel member says the draft should look like this. First round, Devontae Smith. Round 2, best cornerback available. Round 3, best linebacker available. Every other round, pill up on the offensive line and defensive line. Pile up. Hey, I hear you. Listen, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well because we are going to be doing multiple mock drafts live on here. So we're going to be going live like this. I'll pull the mock draft up on the screen, and I'm not going to be making the picks. It's going to be you guys. We're going to say first round, the Eagles got the pick at this spot. What are we doing? We trading back? Are we picking a guy? What are we doing? And it's going to be the chat busting. And whoever, the majority rules, if it's like first round, you get, 20 Smiths, 26 Chase, 19 Surtains. We're going to go whatever the chat says. We're going to get a Philly Talk Podcast live mock draft from you guys. Then we'll do one from me as well. But we're going to do a bunch of them on this channel throughout the year. So come through, stay cool. Basically asking who is going to trade for Wentz's contract after his year. He had to give the Eagles decent capital to the Eagles, and that's why I think the Eagles keep Wentz for another year at least. Here's the thing, though. If you keep him next year, by the third week of the calendar year, you start paying his next year, 2022 salary. So that's the thing. If you keep him next year, well, then you're keeping him in 2022 too, because now you're paying some of the salary. So you're just taking a bigger hit. Steelers said, get Patrick. You already know. Look at the Steelers trying to offer the help. iDrip says Surtain and Smith. Yo, Joey 672 is mad as hell about Doug being head coach. He's going off. Oh, he's live? Shout out to Joey. Philly Mike, best on YouTube. Feels like tanking with family about Philly sports. Smash the like button and subscribe. We live in the moment. You already know, my guy. Shout out to you. Appreciate you 100%. I don't watch NFL here for the Sixers content, but the Eagles are trash. No disrespect. Hey, at least you rocking with one Philly team, my guy. We're going to be doing live play-by-plays. Come through, my guy. Oh, he just dropped the video? I hear you. I hear you. I'm going to check it out. Don't know if we can draft need. Too many positions of need. Maybe we should draft best player on the board. That is a fact. That is a winning recipe. It's not going to win you the draft in 1 year because your team might be holy still. You're going to have holes on your team if you draft best player available. But if you do that for the next 4 years, you will have more talent on this team than you would if you went with fit. Fit and certain positions are going to mess up. They're going to give you busts, easier picks that could be bust. Now, I'm not saying if you definitely need a position just to keep skipping it because it's not the best player available. Sometimes you got to sacrifice that. But the mindset should always be best player available. That's how you get talent on the team. No, I don't feel comfortable drafting a corner that early with this coaching staff. Scooby-Doo said Patrick Surtain. Yo, they just said Doug was starting Jalen. He got to go. I'm done with him. I hear you. iDrip said, yeah, about to be in the dark ages for 2 to 3 years at most. Alkabir, the analyst, said Caleb Farley. Emmanuel said 1 pick wide receiver. We need that true dog at wide receiver. 2nd pick offensive lineman, and the rest of the draft go defense. I hear you, my guy. That's why it's a rebuild, not a retool. Don't buy into Howie's propaganda. Desmond coming with that, hey, it is what it is type take. With that being said, we've been live for 1 hour and 46 minutes. I appreciate you guys 100%. Again, if you rock with the Sixers or just like NBA, I will be going live at 7 o'clock for a play-by-play, live play-by-play. Come through, chill out, hang with your boy, and let's watch some Sixers beat the Hornets. We talking 5-1. Let's go. Eagles, I will be doing the live play-by-play. Washington versus Eagles. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff. Subscribe to the channel because I'm telling you guys, we're going to have draft profiles, live mock drafts, a bunch of different things coming to the channel. We're going to do Jamar Chase versus Devontae Smith. We're going to do Caleb Farley versus swing Patrick Surtain. We're going to do a linebacker video. You know who we talking about. Offensive line video. And we're going to get deep into the 2nd and 3rd, 4th round too. With all that being said, I appreciate you guys 100%. Smash that like button. It's easy. It's free. Don't cost you a thing. Peterson, not the 1st round pick. Do you think we'll trade down in the draft? That is something I really want to do if we get a top 5 pick. Doug is playing Hurts because it doesn't make sense to play Wentz, and he gets hurt. Then what? We'll down to 1 good quarterback. Hey, play Sudford at this point. With all that being said, like I said, I appreciate you guys 100%. We did it. 206 likes. I appreciate you guys 100% who rock with the Philly Talk podcast 100%. We had 178. I wanted to see if y'all can close it out, and y'all did what y'all do. I'll take that. I didn't think we wanted to win, to be honest. That's facts. That's big facts. With all that being said, shout out to everybody in the chat. Y'all the real MVPs. We're going to be doing a live call-in soon. We're going to be getting more and more and more information on this drama-filled offseason. And again, make sure you hit me up on Twitter. Follow your boy on Twitter. You get any spicy information, DM me when I make a video or go live about it. I will shout you out. On that note, y'all know what time it is. Bye-bye, Jim Schwartz. We got the reports that Doug Peterson might be staying. We're going to have to see. Until next time, you guys know what time it is. We out.